Welcome to another episode of Monster Men. That was a zombie.
Yes, I mixed it up today in honor of
the upcoming second half of season 2 of
The Walking Dead. Best show on cable television right now.
And a Christmas present to us because we have been fans of the Walking Dead comic books for a long time.
Yeah. Almost from the beginning. I think we came in a little late. Maybe 10 issues in or something.
Our good friend Morgan, who on Monster Man off camera, first turned me on to this. And I had seen this in the comic book store, and when you just glance at it, it doesn't look very exciting. I was like, where the hell are the zombies? Where the hell are the zombies? Oh, there's a zombie in one. Yeah. I was like, this. And he's like, nope, go. Now, Morgan likes to read them online.
Right, I remember that.
And I have never embraced reading comics online. I like having the physical.
Yeah.
But either way, you read like 2 issues of this.
You're sucked right in for life. Because it's not about zombies. It's about society. It's about the humans left behind and how they're trying to rebuild and stay together. And it's taking some of these people that have been there from the beginning and just watching what this does to your soul, to your psyche as you try to live in this world.
Robert Kirkman said when he wrote it, as we've said in the past, a zombie movie starts, a zombie movie ends, then what happens next? This is everyday life in the zombie apocalypse. So there's going to be stretches where you're fighting hordes of zombies and stretches where you're trying to find water and fresh food.
Right. And really, what happens to your mind?
Yeah, bashing in skulls of your loved ones who have turned takes a toll on you.
And what about kids who that's all they know?
What would you do to protect your kids? Can you trust the people? You know, you always imagine, oh well, we'd find other survivors and coexist together, and then they're trying to
it's not
kill
so
you
easy.
And take your supplies, or
right. A lot of the Walking Dead, the scariest people in the Walking Dead are the living. The dead are they're a manageable force of nature that you can kind of learn to get around. Occasionally it gets out of hand, but the hardest thing to do is how do you live with other people who are damaged?
And the governor being the
There's a novel out about the governor.
Really?
Yes, it's not a comic book. It's a novel out about the governor.
Oh.
It just came out in December.
I got to check that. If you haven't read the comic books, the governor is one of the. Everybody who's read the comic book and is watching the TV show is waiting for the governor to appear.
Baddest of the badass.
Yeah. Now we were recently in a Barnes and Noble, and we saw that the latest. I don't even know what the trade paperback they call this.
Graphic novel.
But they come out as like a regular comic book, and then every, I don't know, what is it, 3 or 6 months, they combine like 2 issues into a hardcover or semi-hardcover like this. Right. So that's what I do. I wait for these.
Yeah, because we don't go. There aren't any comic book stores really, except for one in Connecticut.
Here's the thing: is when you get these, you want to savor them. So I get this, and I'll only read a few pages at a time.
Oh, you have that self-control?
I do.
I don't.
And then I'll be like, I'll go back and read a few more pages. Because once you hit that end, you're like, I got to wait another 6 months.
Every time.
Thank God the TV show's there now.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job with the TV show. And for those who are fans of the comic, it's great because they're not following the comic, so you don't know where they're going.
Which is the big thing we were waiting for. There are people in the comic who are not in the show and vice versa. There are people in the comic book who are dead, who are still alive in the show.
Yep.
And there are
people in the show who are alive who died early on.
Yeah, like I'm just we don't know what's happening from time to episode. And matter of fact, the whole thing in the TV show, they go to the CDC.
Right.
And I saw Robert Kirkman on the show afterwards, The Talking Dead.
Oh my God, that's the worst. That guy who hosts.
Yeah,
He used to do like Shipwrecked or Shipmates. Remember, he used to do that dating show when
Oh my
people got on
God.
that cruise ship and dated.
He's from that?
Yeah, and they should stick him back on that.
Anyway, Kirkman was saying that somebody had mentioned to him, like, oh, did you do Atlanta because the CDC is there? And he's like, no, I didn't even realize that. We should do something with that.
Right.
So they went off in that direction.
That was a great ending. And I mean, even though Frank Darabont isn't as involved in the second season, and the second season did have parts that are kind of heavy and plotting, and you're like, when the hell is something going to happen? You have to be patient, just like with the comic books.
I saw a lot of people getting impatient with season 2 because they spend a lot of time on this farm, which happens in the comic book too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we
spent a year on the farm when you think about it.
Yeah.
The comic books.
In the comic book, we knew the big secret of the. So I'm watching and I'm trying not to tell my friends who hadn't read the comics yet.
Mm.
But there's a barn, and we're like, I know it's in the barn. I know it's in the barn. But people were complaining that there's not as much happening. They're on this damn farm, and then the last episode before the break was one of the best freaking moments of television.
It was weird. It started out, the very first episode was phenomenal. Had that scene with they're under the cars and the dead is shambling by. That was great. And then you had this build up, and then you had the end that which just blew your mind.
Blew your mind. And I think a lot of people who don't read the comics sometimes are so used to 28 Days Later or something like that, where there's just frenetic action the whole time.
But that's what those movies are. Those are monster movies.
Yeah, you only have an hour and a half.
Right.
And you're looking for a bang for your buck. With this, if you read the comic, it's all character development, and then they kill characters in this.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, you get emotionally invested in a character, sometimes for years, and then they just rip your heart apart.
You're like, they killed them? How could you kill him?
Yeah, and then
kill her.
When they kill that person, it's how does everyone else? You're emotionally invested in it. Well, are the characters. And now, how do they deal with that vacuum that's left behind?
And there are 3 or 4 characters that we were talking before we hit record that were like, you think they ever kill so and so? Like, I don't know. Nobody's safe. They could eventually kill everybody and have all new.
I will. Rick is the main character, and he's kind of like the leader of their band. And I said to Jack, I could see where they kill Rick eventually. You know, you never know where they're going. They almost make a case where almost everybody's got to go. But I think it's because you were so mentally damaged from surviving this that you're almost not human anymore. You can give the appearance of human, and maybe you want human amenities, but there's something that's lost forever in you.
Yeah.
It's an incredible study in character development.
What do you like better, the books or the show?
I still like the comic books better.
Me too.
You know, but we're years involved in these comic books. But I think they managed to touch on more characters in the comic books, and believe it or not, develop them stronger in just a few panels than they do in the TV show. Something like this, there's very few words, but man, it hits you.
Every single one of these issues has some pivotal thing that happens that I'll then call you up and be like, dude, did you read that? Holy crap. There's always a holy crap moment or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
In every single one of these.
They should almost call it the Holy Crap Dead.
The Holy Crap Dead. I love it. Again, the zombie movie is a whole different animal. It needs to be paced different.
Mm-hmm.
TV show-wise, I think they've done a great job with it. I always can't wait. I can't wait for the second half.
It's an event in the house when that show's coming on.
So, a couple of things we want. On our Facebook page, Monster Men 13. Do you like the comic book or the
movie?
Or the movie? Have you read the comic book? Do you want to read the comic book? If you're watching the show, I have a good friend of mine who I keep telling him I'm going to lend him my whole stack.
Right.
Which I'm afraid to because I want to get
you don't want it to go away forever.
But there's part of me, it's like, I don't want you to read it because then you're going to know if you're that into the show,
right, it's going
to tip off a bunch of things. But then you're going to start looking forward to things like, are they ever going to get to the jail? Are you ever going to have the governor? You know,
there's so many things that are hovering right now where I don't know where it's going to land.
The teaser for season 2 showed a chain link fence, and it was actually like a school, but I thought it was the jail.
Right.
It was like, oh, they're going to the jail.
Oh, let me tell you something. If they get the TV show into the jail, it becomes a completely different animal.
And that was it. That jail is the defining moment of that comic. With it, the time they spend in the jail is what took it from this is really good to holy crap, this is phenomenal.
Yeah. So from the jail to when they leave the jail, which if you're reading the comic was maybe a year and a half worth of issues. So if they do that in a TV show,
it's going to be a whole season in the jail.
Don't complain. Just enjoy it.
And the crap that happens, the governor comes into play.
Oh man.
But yeah, so if you're not watching The Walking Dead or you're not reading The Walking Dead, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, really. As far as in the zombie genre, this is the greatest thing ever. Even better than Night of the Living Dead, I think. This is the greatest achievement in this genre.
Well, it's nice to see that they've taken it. There's so many poor things that have come out.
Yes.
That have been spawned. Night of the Living Dead spawned this whole genre, and now the guy who created Night of the Living Dead can't even make a good movie.
No, his
Survival of the Dead. Oh my god.
No. So the only luck you're getting is with Brian Keane stuff.
Brian Keane
with
stuff
The Rising and City of the Dead, but Walking Dead, by far the best.
All right.
So shamble on over to your TV and your store.
Episode or issue 15 is the latest one. So if you're getting them in this in the trade paperback, it's up to
volume 15.
Up to volume 15. And
the new season starts in February, right after the Super Bowl. So get ready
on AMC. It's funny. I had a meeting with AMC for work before the show came out, and I mentioned how excited I was, and one of the people in the meeting was like, "Oh." Like, she was like, this is gonna, like, she didn't think it was gonna make it. Like, zombies, are you kidding me? This is the place that does Mad Men. And,
yeah, well, this is bigger and better than Mad Men, from what I can see.
Yeah, just awesome. So keep up the good work, Walking Dead people, and if you're not into this, get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. #1 recommendation from the Monster Men.
We'll see you next time on Monster Men.